What is good, everyone? For this video, we're going to be covering premium, equilibrium, and discount. Let's get into it. So let me first give you guys like a real life example. When you guys are going to a grocery store, right? And let's say you want to buy some food for your dog, right? It's $100 for this dog food. Do you want to be getting it when it's $100, right? Or do you want to be getting it when there's a sale for 50% off dog food and now you're only buying it for $50? Well, you want to be getting it in, or you want to be buying it at that sale, right? And the same thing goes for the market, right? You want to be buying at prices. If we are in bullish scenarios, we want to be getting in at a lower price so then we can hold longer, have a better risk to reward. And then if we are in a bearish scenario, you want to be getting in at a higher price to then have a better risk to reward for it to then go lower. And this is how the market moves, and the market wants to rebalance ranges for the market makers to then get in at that discounted price or a premium price if it is a bearish scenario, right? So first off is equilibrium. So how you use this is you have, let's say we have a huge move, right, where this market, where we just go straight up and we have a super bullish move with zero retracements. Well, what you can expect is for then the market to rebalance that range and rebalance to equilibrium and then go higher, right? And so if we just go from our fib from this low to the high, so your swing low to then your swing high, the market will most likely go to rebalance that range to then fill orders and get people in at a discounted price to then go long. Because for example here, right, if we're super bullish and I want to get in an entry, am I going to be buying here with the stop loss all the way down at this swing low with targets like, all the way here? Like, no, that's a really bad risk to reward versus let's say we go back to equilibrium. Well, now this is going to be a 1-to-1 risk to reward, and I will have just to back to that swing high, right? And it's going to be a much better entry. And then versus here, this is discount. So discount is also not like this is OTE of your range. Is discount is anything below equilibrium. So the OTE of the range is 0.62. OTE also stands for optimal trade entry. And your optimal trade entry is going to be is 0.62. Why is this an optimal trade entry? Well, you're most likely going to have around a 1.166, yeah, 1.66 risk to reward. Probably 1.2 if it goes even lower, 1 to 2 if it goes lower, or if you have targets above. So the risk to reward is just going to be a lot better, and you'll most likely see the market go around this area. And then for a premium entry, it is going to be anything above equilibrium in a bear scenario, right? Because at this point in time, do you want to be shorting here with the stop loss all the way here and then targets here? No, you want to wait for the market to do its retracement back to equilibrium or discount of the range, which is here, to then take your short entry and then look at your risk to reward from this, from here. It's a much better risk to reward. Now you're probably asking yourself, Blake, what is 0.705 and 0.09? So 0.705 is also known as the golden pocket. So the golden pocket is really like the highest point or like the lowest point you'd see price trade to in a bullish or bearish scenario if we are truly bullish or bearish. You rarely do see this, but when it does hit, you want to be careful with this though, because I use this though a lot of the times like 0.709. If we start trading to this, then I am most likely not going to keep being bearish, and we will most likely not have this move. We'll most likely trade back to the highs. So if we start displacing through equilibrium, through OTE, through golden pocket, and through 0.79 of the range, then I'll kind of use this as like a confirmation, like, all right, maybe we're not so bearish and we should go higher. And for example here, if we start trading through all of this with a lot of speed, displacement, fair value gaps, then I'll be like, you know what, we're probably not that bullish, and we're disrespecting OTE, we're disrespecting equilibrium in this range, we're disrespecting discount. So I'll probably just flip that bias. But if we're respecting it, we're trading pretty slow to these areas, and we know we're displacing through this or from this. Sorry, I need to turn off notifications really quick. Then this should hold, right? So this is what that looks like. Let's get into some examples. So for example, let's just go, right here is perfect. So we swept previous month low here, right? We swept previous month low. And at this point in time, we want to rebalance the range, right? Because after taking liquidity, the market likes to rebalance the range. So we have obviously this huge range here, right? We have this swing low, we have this swing high, and there hasn't been any retracements from this range, so you can draw out your fib from from high to low. And as you can see here, we have equilibrium and we have OTE. So we will most likely trade back to this area to then trade lower if we were bearish. And then, if we start trading above here, we're most likely going to this high and we're most likely going to trade higher. Right? So as you can see here, we then rebalance the range. We hit equilibrium and then we start selling off. And then that's that. I mean, we can do this again for this bearish example here for a premium entry. Right? We have a swing low right here. We also have a swing high. So you draw your high to low, and then the market rebalance the range, hit equilibrium, and it hit OTE, that 0.62 level, right? And then we decided to then trade lower. And again, you're getting an optimal trade entry here at this level, right, with a risk to reward of about a 1 to 1.4, versus if we're just shorting blindly here without any retracement, right? What is our risk to reward going to be? It's going to be a lot worse versus, we have an entry like this, stop loss like this. You're most likely just getting a much better entry. So let's also then go into an example of a bullish scenario. So let's just, we can all, and again, this is fractal, price is fractal, right? So this works, also on like the daily, right? We have a huge imbalance here and a huge range that wasn't rebalanced. So what can you expect? Well, if we're going to be truly bearish, we should respect equilibrium and OTE of this area, and then we should trade lower. And as you can see here, the market trades up. We actually hit golden pocket right there, and we do respect golden pocket. We don't see any bodies closing above it. So then we just end up trading lower. But that's another example of a premium entry. So let me give you an example of a non-premium entry, right? So this is a discount. So as you can see here, we have a huge bullish displacement here, right? A lot of just bullish displacement. So what you can do is take your fib and go to your swing high and then swing low, or sorry, the swing low in this scenario just be here. Your swing high and your swing low, and you can also do it just from this swing, this swing, this swing, and we end up hitting equilibrium here, and then we end up trading higher, back up, right? And yeah, this is an example of a discounted entry, right? So you're getting in below equilibrium, which is at a discount, and you're going to get a much better risk to reward and entry model than if you're entering blindly all the way up here, right? So with this being said, because I do trade inversion fair value gaps, I'm most likely not getting in at a discounted entry, and that is okay, because with inversion fair value gaps, you're not getting the best possible risk to reward all the time, but you do have a really high win rate, right? There's two different types of trading models and trading strategies in this industry. One is you have a really good win rate and you have a bad risk to reward, or mid risk to reward, or you have a really kind of shitty win rate, but you have a really good risk to reward, right? And both models are profitable. Just depends on what you trade. And for me, for example, since I don't trade like turtle soups, or I don't trade fair value gap taps, I wait for confirmation and I wait for displacement. So how I use equilibrium and discount is I'll wait for that to then get traded to, for then me to say, okay, well, we respected equilibrium, we respected discount, we're trading away from this, and now I'm getting even more confirmation from an inversion fair value gap. So and then I can get my entry from like here. And yeah, I'm not going to get the best possible risk reward if I were to enter here, but then there's also times where we completely disrespect equilibrium and discount, and then we end up, failing. Like for example, today. Let's go on the 15-minute time frame. We had a lot of bullish displacement on for today. If we can go on the charts. Yeah. All right, let's just go on like the 1 minute. We had a lot of bullish displacement here, right? So what a lot of people probably try to do is long when we hit equilibrium of this range, right? But what happened is we actually traded, and let's just keep moving it higher. what happened is we started trading really, really fast with speed and displacement through this, and we got no confirmation out of this. So instead of, this is going to have obviously a much better risk to reward, but you're not going to have that good of a win rate versus, me, I'm waiting for that confirmation. And since I didn't get any confirmation, since we ended up trading below golden pocket and started trading here, that's when I flipped my bias. And I was, I was never bullish in the first place. We had that bearish bias from the daily bias, obviously. But yeah, anyways, that's just something to know. So, and also in a bear scenario, right, I'm not getting in at that premium entry most of the time. There's times where sometimes I am getting the top. It really depends on what the fair value gap is and what the price action is presenting to me. If it's, a singular in the leg, or if do I have to wait for multiple candles, right? But what happens here is most likely I'm getting in at a lower price, right? If we're in a, like all the way down here. And that's okay as long as we hit that premium, or as long as we hit that discount. I'm okay with shorting, or I'm okay with longing, right? But I still do look for that before taking my entry. I do want to see that, and yeah, before taking my entry for sure. But that is that. That is one of the ways the market moves. Oops, what the fuck did I just do? I don't know if it means, yeah. That is one of the way the market moves, which is by rebalancing the range and rebalancing the equilibrium. So that is that. I'll see you guys for the next lesson. Peace out.